Adon Erev Shabbos. Finally, we are back. We are back after Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, Sukkot, Hoshana Rabbah, Shmini Atzeres, Simchas Torah. We're finally back. I often said a line, and Baruch Hashem, I was fortunate to find a sefer says this. So Ashrei Chelki. We're going into the month of Cheshvan. We've just come off of all of the Yom Tovim, the highest heights of Yom Tovim. And we're going into the month of Cheshvan, a month with absolutely no Yom Tovim. In fact, the month of Cheshvan has absolutely no Yom Tovim. It's such a stigma, such a trouble, such a sadness to Jewish people, that when the terrible king, Yeravam ben Nevat, who was one of the kings of the Jewish people, when he decided that he's going to make a brand new Yom Tov in order to get Jewish people to unfortunately no longer commit themselves to Hashem, he created that new Yom Tov in this month of Cheshvan. It was the 15th of Cheshvan. He made a brand new Yom Tov. When else was he going to find a Yom Tov, a month without Yom Tovim? So he went and found Cheshvan, an empty month. Many people say Mar Cheshvan. It's called Mar Cheshvan, the bitter Cheshvan, because after all of the month full of Yom Tovim and Geschmack and joy and all that, now we have a bitter month with nothing left. I always wanted to say a different thing, and I saw the sefer, I think it's called Nachal Shiva. He says this same idea. He says Mar Cheshvan, Mar can mean something else as well. Mar Cheshvan. In fact, when you learn the Gemara, you might learn about people in the Gemara known as Mar Zutra. What does Mar mean in the Gemara when it says Mar Zutra? It means the master, Mister, the Rabbi, the leader. And I want to say that it's called Mar Cheshvan because you can become Mr. Cheshvan. You know, in some environments, you can get an award. You could be Mr. December, Mr. January. In Cheshvan, you could become Mr. Cheshvan. You went through an entire month of Yom Tovim. You built yourself up. Rosh Hashanah, Aser Simei Tshuva. I want to be better. In our class, we work very hard on preparing something known as a pinkus, something we could write down on a piece of paper to remind us, try to do it daily, so that we know that we're developing. In Aser Simei Tshuva, we're taking a step forward. Yom Kippur, we're taking a step higher. 4 days to prepare for Sukkot, and we get to Sukkot a step higher. But then you're at the end of the Yom Tovim, and now you're entering Cheshvan. And you know why there's nothing doing in Cheshvan? Because Cheshvan is not the month of Yom Tovim anymore. Cheshvan is the month of you. Cheshvan is the month where you can become Mar Cheshvan, Mr. Cheshvan, where you can fill your life with everything you've accomplished until now and show off to yourself what you've accomplished. In Kippur, I told myself I wouldn't even imagine going a day without tzitzis. How can I even think about going without tzitzis? And therefore, Mr. Cheshvan, that's me. I'm going to have tzitzis flying during Cheshvan. On Yom Kippur, on Rosh Hashanah, on Sukkot, when I was dancing on Simchas Torah with that Sefer Torah, I said, you know what, Hashem, while I'm dancing, I really, really, really love you. I really love you right now. I once saw a certain person, a relative of mine, on Simchas Torah. He's a regular person. You know, he's Talmid Chacham. He learns. On Simchas Torah, I saw him holding the Sefer Torah, and suddenly he started dancing. He lost total awareness. He was not drunk. He did not drink at all. He lost total awareness of where he was, and just started singing with the Sefer Torah. Torah's Hashem Tanima. He could not stop. There was a yeshiva near him. The yeshiva thought he was drunk, so the yeshiva tried to stop him. He lost entire awareness of his environment, and he was totally with that Sefer Torah while he was dancing. Just stand. I remember I could see it right in front of me. He was dancing in his own circle. He was doing his own thing. But he reached that point. Some of us would hopefully reach a point like that by Yom Kippur, by Ne'ilah, at the very end, screaming Hashem Elokim. We spoke about that before Yom Tov. But you scream, and you're suddenly there. And just for a moment, you feel it. in Cheshvan we come to a new month, a month with nothing, but it's not a month with nothing. It's a month with an opportunity for you to imbue, to fill that month with all of the accomplishments. You're going to make a new Yom Tov. It's going to be called the Yom Tov of Netanel. It's going to be called the Yom Tov of Shimon. It's going to be called the Yom Tov of Gavriel. It's a new Yom Tov. You came into the month of that month, and you came into it, and you imbued that month with your Yom Tov, all of that accomplishment that you're creating there. Mar Cheshvan, that could be you. Mr. Cheshvan, put up a big sign, a calendar, and it's going to say Mr. Cheshvan, Mar Cheshvan. This week's parsha, it starts off talking about the tremendous tzaddik that was Noach. My son, who should live and be well, one of my younger children, Yosef, we got it into his head that there's a song. And it's a song about him. And whenever we say to Yosef, we say, Yosef, should we sing your song? We say to him, whenever we say, should we sing your song? He said, yeah, we should sing my song. So we sing his song. This is Yosef's song. Nobody else's song. And it goes, Yosef is a big tzaddik. Yosef is a... He thinks it's his song. And we say, how do the rest of the words go? From his kapela to his fisula, Yosef is a big tzaddik. Obviously, it wasn't Yosef a tzaddik. He thinks it's his song. Of course, the song is Noach was a big tzaddik. Noach was a big tzaddik. From his kapela to his fisula, Noach was a big tzaddik. What was so special about Noach? What was so special? So many Sfarim spend a lot of time trying to figure out what was not so special about Noach. You know, they say the contrast, like Rashi does, contrast Noach with Avram Avinu. So we spend a lot of time saying Avram Avinu was so great, but Noach was not so great because Noach did not do all those incredible things that Avram Avinu did. Let's start with the first step. The first step is that Noach was a big tzaddik. Noach was a big tzaddik. From his Kepler to his Fisla. Noach was a big tzaddik. What was so great about Noach? And yesterday I was able to speak to some of our Cheshvan 11th graders, and we spoke about a lot of this. And one of the things that struck us when we were talking about it, we spoke about the idea that Noach lived in a world where 99 out of 100 people, he was the 100th person, obviously there were more people, but everyone else was bad. Everyone else was evil. Everyone else was horrible. And he took a look at himself and he said, not me. I can be different. I can take steps that other people can't. The world might be full of people all doing the wrong things, but not me. There's a very famous Devar Torah said by Rabbi Wasserman, my grandfather's Rebbe. Rabbi Chanan, as we know, was killed in the Holocaust in 1941. There's a very famous Devar Torah. Rabbi Chanan pointed out the idea, we know there's something called a blood libel. A blood libel. It's the most silly thing to accuse the Jewish people of taking non-Jewish blood and then therefore using it for matzah. The silliest thing, the most restrictions, the most horrible punishment for eating blood. And we would do that, the craziest thing. So B'chanan pointed out, and he explained that he showed a source for it, looking at Sefer Kavos Mamar, but Rabbi Chanan said that we did a terrible sin that made no sense, and therefore we get punished with a sin that makes no sense. Okay. There's something else that makes no sense. One of the things the non-Jewish world says about the Jewish people, it's hilarious. It's the most hilarious thing. It's even funnier than old Natanel's jokes. It's hilarious. They say, Orthodox Jews, all we do is we're stuck in our box and we conform and we all do the same thing, we all look the same way. All you Orthodox Jews. All you do is all look exactly like each other. That's all you do. Just conform. It's hilarious. You have a world of almost 8 billion people. 7.999 billion of them are all doing the exact same thing. They all obsess over the same things. They all eat the same foods. They all walk the same way. They all watch the same movies. They all watch the same shows. They all drive the same cars. And they all think the same way. Slight differences. even this coming week, the elections are happening this week. If you really got down to it, the difference between one guy and the other, he's a faker, she's a faker, they're all a bunch of fakers. Everyone's a faker in this thing. This whole world full of fakers. And a little tiny group of people, just a few million of us, act differently. The noyachs of the world. When we eat, we don't just eat like a cow. We don't just eat like a pig. We eat our food carefully, as a meal. When we eat, we make a bracha before we eat. We say, please Hashem, can I have this food? And when we finish, we say, thank you Hashem for that food that you gave us. The non-Jews are so proud of themselves. Before they sit down for dinner, they all say grace. Before you sit down for dinner, you say grace. I say grace 4 times before this, and I say grace 4 times after. Oh, what's this stuff? What are you talking about? They say they pray so many times a month. So many times a month. You go to your prayer place, once every Sunday if you can? I do that 3 times a day. Every day of the year. Sometimes 4, sometimes 5. And there's just a few million of us. And you know what we are? If there's one people in the world who don't conform to anything, and we're sticking it out, and we're holding on strong, and it's because you can say it clearly to yourself, we are Noach. Noach was a big tzaddik, from his Kepala to his Visla. That's us. We stand apart. We stand alone. We are incredible. We are Mr. Cheshvan, Mar Cheshvan. Today is Rosh Chodesh, Mar Cheshvan. Some people say, it's so sad. Honestly, on Shabbos, when I said it, Mar Cheshvan, it sounds very, very bitter. Mar Cheshvan. Doesn't sound bitter. It's talking about Duvi. It's saying, Duvi, Mar Cheshvan. You are Mr. Cheshvan. The things that you accomplish in this month, the things that you're able to do, are incredible. And inspiration. And you set yourself up for greatness. Because you're not willing to be the same like everybody else. You're not willing to conform. Whenever you see a poll, you look at these polls, statistics, you see, it's a funny thing, they say that when the president is running for president, so like he has the momentum. One person has the momentum. No, she has the momentum. What does that mean that they have the momentum? That means that suddenly 3-4% of the population just switched to the other side. No, 34%, they switched back the other way. What does that mean? It means you have a good amount of the population in the United States that simply follows other people. That's all they are, a bunch of followers. And you have the opportunity to say, not me. You can say that? Not me. Noach was a big tzaddik. Shua is a big tzaddik. My son Yosef is a big tzaddik. Be'ez Hashem, there's so much we can do. There's so much you can accomplish. And when you look at the mirror, you should say, that's not a mirror, that is a calendar. And it's a calendar that is declaring, there's me, Mar Cheshvan, Mr. Cheshvan. Are you ready to be Mar Cheshvan? Mr. Cheshvan, Be'ez Hashem. Hashem should give us the opportunity. This Shabbos, the first Shabbos of the year that isn't connected to a Yom Tov. This Shabbos, Be'ez Hashem, you should have delicious chalent, you should delicious soup, and sing Zmiris. And don't forget, on Sunday is Nathaniel's birthday, and we should celebrate together. Be'ez Hashem, a beautiful Shabbos, everybody.